What's going on, everyone? John Matrix here. Hope you're all having yourselves a wonderful day wherever you're at and whenever you're watching this. Today we're gonna be jumping with some more SCP Foundation SCPs. We're gonna be jumping into SCP 3785 Jasper's Hill by the Exploring series. Links will be down below as always to the original video without my commentary and reaction, and to the Exploring series channel. So please do me a favor, click those links. If you enjoy this video, go give it a like, and if you enjoy the Exploring series content, if you haven't hit that sub button on his channel, please hit that sub button on his channel. He definitely deserves it. We'd love to have you guys come in here and join the conversations that we have when we do these reactions live. There's a join button underneath the video, as well as a link in the description to the YouTube membership benefits and tiers that I offer. If you've been around the channel for a while and decide you want to take that support to the next level, check it out. See if any of those benefits would have any kind of interest for you. But regardless, let's jump into this video here. Again, this is the Exploring series SCP-3875 Jasper's Hill.
SCP-3785 Jasper's Hill. The slasher film is a staple of horror cinema.
Oh shit.
The idea of a crazed murderer going around and picking off innocent victims in gruesome ways has been a simple and effective mainstay of horror movies.
That was like the thing in the 80s, you know, Freddy, Jason, Halloween, however many other movies, and then even on through the 90s with Scream and I Know What You Did Last Summer and all these kind of, videos or videos.
So yeah, and although the subgenre isn't as popular as it once was, it will always have a place in the horror world.
I guess Saw would probably be like the most recent kind of like slasher kind of film, but really that's kind of turned into more of like a shock horror kind of thing with like what are the crazy situations you can put people in and how they die.
Slasher villains don't have much of a place in the SCP universe, however. A world more interested in the unique and the abnormal than something as basic as a murderer. Enter SCP.
Well, I mean, I forget what the number is. The old man, the SCP with like the oily guy who can hop in and out of dimensions, and like his oily stuff is like corrosive. He's basically kind of like a slasher killer thing. There's also the SCP that's tied to Christmas that takes kids and like makes toys out of them. That's a pretty horrific SCP.
SCP-3785, an anomaly that is set up in many ways like a typical slasher film, but it harbors a wonderful SCP twist. SCP-3785 is an extra-dimensional space located in Georgia, accessible only by a specific dirt road leading off of Georgia Highway 166.
Interesting.
Anyone who strays off of this dirt road and attempts to return to it will find themselves unable to do so. The road and extra-dimensional space can also not be accessed by air. After walking along the road for around 2 kilometers, it exits out into SCP-3785.
That's kind of creepy. Those little dots right there, I mean, they look like eyes of something. I don't know, that's just creepy looking.
A space roughly 90 meters wide and indeterminately long. The area is bordered by a thick forest containing a number of supports for high voltage power lines.
Okay.
The space itself is largely made up of hills and valleys, which begin to increase dramatically in size and complexity the deeper one goes into the area. This makes exploration increasingly difficult, and so far no exploratory team has reached the north end of the space, if indeed it even exists. It is perpetually nighttime within the space, and the temperature is a consistent 22.5 degrees Celsius, or 72.5 degrees Fahrenheit. Crisscrossing the space are numerous dirt tracks, dotted with crude wooden signs bearing the words Jasper's Hill, with arrows pointing north. Jasper is believed to be the driver of a white, later 1980s Chevrolet Blazer on a lifted suspension, seen in the area. Jasper and the vehicle are capable of easily navigating the terrain of the area, and does so to stalk and pursue individuals.
Is this like the Duke boys turn like mixed with, you know, Jason or something? Like,
who become lost in 3785.
interesting.
Jasper's Hill was part of a well-known folk tale in the local region, which generally consisted of 3 children who became lost in the woods surrounding it and entered a dark clearing known as Jasper's Place. The children then became lost in the clearing and are pursued by an unseen individual who eventually finds them and hangs them upside down at the end of the story. The Foundation doesn't generally pay much credence to local folk tales, but when a group of 12 young adults disappeared under mysterious circumstances in the same area, Foundation personnel became interested. 3 weeks later, one of the 12 was found nearly 2 kilometers from the entrance to Jasper's Hill, in a state of severe shock. The survivor was a 20-year-old male from a small city in Georgia, who claimed that he was still being pursued by Jasper, and the others had all been hung upside down.
Yikes.
While communicating with
A little predator action there. I wonder if they were skinned as well.
first responders, the individual panicked at the sight of headlights from passing vehicles and began to scream about Jasper having found him and being unable to hide, forcing the responders to sedate him. Local law enforcement scoured the area, eventually discovering the dirt road and its access to Jasper's Hill, leading the Foundation to come in and control the scene. An MTF was prepped to go in and seek out the other missing individuals. 3 members of the MTF D15 Country Line are sent in: Tedder, Norse, and Jackknife. They start down the dirt road at around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, but it's already dark. As they reach the entrance to the extra-dimensional space, they
Also, like, only sending in 3 people. I mean, maybe this is, I don't know enough about a lot of the mobile task force, right? So maybe these guys are super qualified, but you would think you would still want to send in more than just 3 people, right? Like, you know, I don't know, at least like 10, just to make sure. Because it just seems like sending in 3 people is like a recipe for them to just not make it back.
They comment on the eerie quietness of the area, only hearing the wind and an occasional bird. They can see power lines throughout the area, but can't see very far north due to the darkness. There are stars in the sky, but Tedder says that they're pretty dim, and he doesn't recognize any of them. He also wishes that they had brought some vehicles with them.
Sounds like they're almost getting sent to a different dimension, right? Because, like, the stars are... It's darker, the stars are like dimmer, and he doesn't recognize, I guess, any of the stars, so I would assume that means he doesn't recognize any of the constellations that may be visible, if any.
After continuing on for some time, they find a few sets of footprints, potentially from the missing individuals. They also see their first sign reading Jasper's Hill with an arrow on it. They continue moving north, passing more signs as well as what appears to be small campsites and remnants of campfires. Stopping on top of a particularly tall hill, they spot what seems to be a slow-moving car in the distance. Tedder calls into command, informing them of the increasingly drastic terrain as they've been moving north, and telling them about the slow-moving vehicle. As he does so, however, the vehicle stops, then turns, and begins moving towards them. They also note that the sound of the bird has stopped, replaced with a person making some sort of cat noise over and over.
What?
Command tells the MTF to head back to base so they can return with vehicles. Placed with a person making some sort of cat noise over.
A person making a cat noise over and over, like hissing? Like, what do you mean by cat noise? And that replaced the sound of a bird? Oh, yeah, okay, stop yawning all of a sudden. So, like, was the bird Jasper to begin with? And I don't know what, this is weird.
Over and over. Command tells the MTF to head back to base so they can return with vehicles. On their return, Norse spots a cell phone lying near a tree and grabs it. By this point, they've lost sight of the vehicle, and the odd cat noise is gone as well. Tedder suddenly remarks that he can hear another sound, which Jackknife confirms, although neither of them can hear it distinctly, despite saying that it sounds close to them. Norse swears and tells them to look up at something, and the vehicle suddenly reappears, so the team starts running. As they're running, Tedder relays to Command that they saw the kids they were looking for, strung up on the power lines, hanging upside down. Command loses connection with the team as they continue to run, and when they regain communications, Tedder informs them that the vehicle collided with Jackknife and sped off into the woods. The driver of the vehicle apparently said something as it drove near them, but they couldn't make out what it was, and they don't think the driver actually saw them. They don't know where Jackknife is currently, and Tedder says that the missing individuals are likely not recoverable. Tedder wants to go looking for...
I mean, yeah, they've been strung up upside down on power line. It seems like they're probably dead.
Jackknife, but Command orders them to continue on to the extraction point, as they'll send in another team to recover Jackknife.
This is what I'm saying, like,
the second
why just
team
send in
also
3
consists
people?
of 3 individuals, who are waiting on standby in case anything went wrong.
Like, is that just like a standard thing? Do most mobile task force just send in 3 people? I feel like they would send in more, right? Am I crazy? Or is it just a thing where they just send in 3 people? I don't know. It's a little... I just feel like it's weird. I feel like you would want to send in more people.
They enter the clearing and begin moving towards Jackknife's locator. One of them calls out to him, and Command receives muffled sounds from Jackknife's radio. They continue on for a few minutes before topping a large hill, at which point they see numerous figures strung up on ropes to some power lines, hanging upside down. The majority of the figures are unmoving, but one is struggling violently, and the vehicle is seen underneath them. One of the team volunteers to lead the vehicle away, while the other 2 climb the power line support to retrieve Jackknife. Once he moves away a certain distance, he lights a flare and calls out to the driver, at which point the sound of distorted laughter and a high-pitched screeching is heard, as the vehicle quickly begins moving towards him. The other 2 then move towards the support and begin scaling it. The camera footage from them shows a bit more of the area, with this clearing being what seems to be the only opening in a world covered in dark forests. The sky above them appears to shimmer somewhat, and further north, the ground looks like it loops and twists in on itself in ways that do not conform with standard geometry.
So yeah, it's like they get sent to another dimension where this SCP is that seems to just hunt them down and kills them.
Eventually, they reach the top of the tower and begin to move across the wires towards Jackknife. Reaching him, one of them starts to cut away at the ropes that are binding him, while the sound of an engine revving can be heard in the trees below, followed by a small explosion from a grenade. Suddenly, there is a low rumbling sound with no apparent source, along with the power lines shaking. Once it ceases, the agent continues cutting the ropes, but once Jackknife is free and starts to reach towards the agent, he instead begins to fall upwards.
What?
The agents try to throw out a rope for him to grab, but they miss, and he continues to move into the sky as the low rumbling sound is heard again, mixed with more distorted laughter from below them. Jackknife curses and desperately calls out for help as the distorted laughter grows louder until it's cut off by a shrill, piercing sound, vaguely feline in nature.
So this Jasper person runs people down in its car, captures them, strings them up on some kind of power lines, kind of like the Predator does. You know, at least that's what I imagine, but without the skinning part. And I guess just kind of leaves them there to die. Like, they haven't really mentioned anything about what the other bodies look like. They've been eaten in any way, you know? Like, does it, like, has it butchered them? You know what I mean? Kind of a situation? Or they just, like, strung them up there and he just leaves them there to die and then become, like, trophies or something? But what is with the falling upwards? I wonder what that is about. Because, like, again, this sounds like they're in some kind of other weird dimension. Maybe that's actually how you get out. I don't know. Oh man, I just can't stop yawning all of a sudden. Yeah. But it also sounds like Jasper is a cat person of some sort, like a tabaxi or something from D&D, or a Khajiit from Skyrim. I don't know. But one that's just had too much skooma or something.
The low rumbling sounds begin to pulse. Looking up at Jackknife, the dim stars in the sky begin to change, growing slightly brighter and twisting in on themselves, revealing many thousands or hundreds of thousands of large, vaguely octopoid eyes, stretching from horizon to horizon.
Now all of a sudden we're in Cthulhu?
Jackknife's body turns to face the sky, and he mentions that something is everywhere before his body distends dramatically. The eyes hovering in the sky then glow a dark red as Jackknife's body comes apart completely, with the viscera continuing to float upwards.
We went straight into some Lovecraftian bloodborneness there. Okay, this is taking a whole different turn. Like, what? So the stars are actually the eyes of some kind of eldritch god or something like that? What is happening?
At this point, the low rumbling sound and the distorted laughter ceases. The team reconvenes and exits the clearing, with further manned
so then what is this entity in the car? Is is this god controlling it? Is this god just playing little, figurines or something like that?
Exploration restricted for the time being. Finally, we have a series of files from the cell phone that the MTF found, which belonged to one of the missing youths, Danielle Hudson.
Youths.
A video shows 3 women and 2 men riding in a vehicle down the dirt road leading to 3785. Another video then shows a small group of people standing around a fire, with headlights visible in the distance. A text message was attempted to be sent to a contact asking for a tow, along with a phone call that didn't go through. Another video shows the group of missing people standing around, looking either concerned or angry, with one of them asking if anyone got the license plate number. One of the males is standing in front of a truck, inspecting some damage.
That's creepy.
The white vehicle passes slowly by the group, with a dark figure driving it and staring at the group. One of the group curses at the figure and throws a bottle at the vehicle as it disappears into the woods.
That sounds like a smart thing to do.
Some pictures are taken of the damaged truck, followed by a single image of the top of a hill with a power line support visible. Afterwards, 7 calls to 911 were attempted from the phone, along with 10 calls to the individual's mother, none of which went through. A short video shows a male from the group pulling out a firearm and shooting at something off camera, but he is suddenly struck by the white vehicle and both disappear off camera as a woman screams. The camera pans to try and locate the man and the vehicle, but neither can be found. Additionally, some sort of strange, retching sound is heard.
What?
The following video shows a pair of headlights in the distance as a man is heard screaming incoherently. A loud engine revving sound is heard and the man goes quiet as the camera pans to show a fire burning on top of another hill. 15 more calls to 911 are attempted, along with a number of text messages to various contacts, consisting of variations of send help or call 911. Another video shows a woman whimpering in the foreground as an engine idling can be heard in the background. The lens is covered by something, but a severely
We're getting into some Blair Wood imagery here now.
distorted and incoherent male voice can be heard nearby. The voice then laughs, and the strange retching sound is heard again. The phone attempted a call to an unknown number, possibly a misdial or pocket dial, and then a picture was taken of a single pair of headlights at a close distance. Then the largest video on file was recorded, at around 23 minutes in length. The camera light turns on, showing the phone close to the ground, and as it pans upwards, the person recording the video is briefly visible, but cannot be made out. The holder moves slowly down a dirt trail before emerging back into the clearing. The camera shows a severely distorted landscape lit only by moonlight, appearing to be a canyon of impossible geological features.
Interesting.
The holder moves along the top of a very steep canyon wall, looking down into it. The bottom of the canyon isn't visible, but several indistinct lights can be seen slowly moving around in the darkness. Suddenly, a loud engine revving sound is heard, and the camera jerks to show an impossibly large hill in the distance. The hill appears to be larger than the entirety of the clearing, but is also somehow entirely visible in the camera view.
What?
On top of this hill is a single pair of headlights, sitting motionless, while a fire burns nearby. Down the hill, a single humanoid figure is seen slowly dragging two other figures towards a series of nooses. The figure positions the two into the nooses by their necks, and the engine revs again. The headlights at the top of the hill begin to back away, as the two prone figures start to slowly rise into the air. As they rise, their bodies turn so that they are seen hanging up instead of down, as if gravity was reversed. The forms can be seen writhing and struggling as the headlights back entirely out of view. The two individuals rise until they are above the power lines, and the camera pans to show hundreds of similar figures hanging upside down in the sky.
So, like, is this like a situation where somehow this person, Jasper, whatever it is, if it is indeed a person, made some kind of like pact, like with some kind of Eldritch god for, I guess, maybe immortality or something like that? And like anyone that stumbles into this dimension, it hunts them down and captures them and brings them to this hill where they get like, I guess, like tied up to a power line for this Eldritch being to like eat or do whatever with. Like, I don't know. This has gone a lot of different ways, and I don't know.
A male voice can be heard from across the distance, heavily distorted but clearly laughing and speaking rapidly and incoherently. The camera pans back down towards the humanoid figure on the hill, who is now looking upwards. There is a low, rumbling noise, and something seems to happen in the sky, just off screen. Suddenly, the figure jerks and looks directly towards the camera, causing the holder to pull away quickly and turn off the camera light. For the following 15 minutes, only the short, heavy breaths of the camera person can be heard, along with the low, pulsing sound and the intermittent screaming of the humanoid figure. The final file is a picture of a male figure, illuminated only by a dim light.
The Godfather.
Off camera. This picture was taken several days after all of the other files. So, there's definitely a lot of tropes at work here, at least to start. We have a creepy backwoods area, a group of youths that head out there to party, and a mysterious, antagonistic figure that starts picking them off one by one.
Yep.
Things take a sharp turn into cosmic horror, though, as it seems that the driver of the vehicle is there to grab anyone who comes in and offer them up as sacrifices to some sort of octopus god in the sky. For some, the idea of a crazed murderer slaughtering teens in the woods is frightening enough, but this is SCP, so things have to be amped up a bit.
They gotta take it to now. Yeah, exactly.
We're really given no answers whatsoever for how this anomaly came to be, who the driver is, who the deity is.
Again, I feel like it's some kind of situation where whoever this driver person is made some kind of, either they made a pact or were enslaved to do so. And they just, whoever enters this anomalous area, they hunt them down and they become food or trophies or something for whatever this Eldritch being is.
And what is happening. But
like, we don't really know like who Jasper is. Is it a person? It's making weird cat noises. It has some kind of weird distorted laugh, and it like makes these weird retching noises. We never get, I guess, a glimpse on what it actually really is. I don't know.
I think it should stay that way. Slasher villains are scary, but cosmic horrors will always be scarier.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole unknown aspect of them. No quote on this one. Feels bad, man. Well, I mean, yeah, I kind of gave my thoughts on that one. That one was like as weird and kind of twisted ways that went. It's also kind of straightforward. Like, yeah, you know, it. Like I said, it seems like there's some kind of whoever Jasper is, the person in the vehicle. Their sole purpose is to chase down and nab up whoever comes into this anomalous area and string them up for this Eldritch being for whatever purpose. To consume them, have them there as a trophy. Maybe just want some people to talk to. You know? I don't know. It doesn't seem that way with how it like messed up that one dude it got a hold of, but I don't know. Interesting story. Interesting story. It definitely started out as like kind of a, like you said, a typical kind of tropey horror story, but then took that Lovecraftian turn, which hey, again, I'm all about. I love all that Eldritch horror, Lovecraftian, Bloodborne-y stuff. So yeah, that was SCP-3785 Jasper's Hill by the Exploring series. Links down below in the description as always to the original video without my commentary and reaction, and to the Exploring series channel. Please do me a favor, click the links. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like, and if you enjoy the Exploring series content but you haven't hit that sub button on his channel, please do. Please go over there and hit the man, you know, hit the man up. Give him a sub. Definitely deserves it. He puts a lot of time and effort into his videos, makes a lot of good stuff for the SCP universe. We'd love to have you guys come in and join the conversations when I do these reactions live with my YouTube members. There is a link down below in the description, as well as a join button underneath the video, to the YouTube membership benefits and tiers that I offer. You know, if you've been around the channel for a while, decide you want to take your support to the next level, take a look at those and see if that would have any interest for you. But thank you guys for watching. Hope you're all having yourselves a wonderful day. We'll see you guys in the next one. Take it easy.